Dang, actually, that's a really good question about tying in, like, I guess the chemistry background with breaking. Dang, honestly, as of right now, I kept them pretty separate. I mean, there's probably like some sort of unconscious parallels that probably happened. I just never really gave that much thought about it.
Well, here's something that maybe you can consider is like for me, I'm an engineer. I studied math and structural engineering in school, and so I have a very like you'll have like a very set process. I mean, it's very math oriented, and so when I approach breaking, I have kind of like a process of doing it in a way, where not necessarily formulaic, although it might look that way. It's more like, so when you get good at math, right, you're not just memorizing like a bunch of formulas or something. You're understanding the process of how like numbers work and how, and variables and stuff. And so what you do is, how to manipulate, a mathematical equation, right? Or just a mathematical statement. You know how to alter it because you have all these tools at your disposal. And so I approach breaking kind of in the same way, is where I like try to learn all these new tools so that when I come into break, I can pull pieces of it and kind of get me to wherever I want, which is the same thing as math, really. Like if you're trying to turn an equation into something that's usable. So you're applying all these different tools. So, whatever this formula you learned back in the day, or this other like substitution you can do. These are all little tools you use to alter the equation, which I know is somewhat similar in chemistry. So I don't know.
Actually, no. Now that you bring that up, I kind of like, I guess, woke up a side of my brain that actually have some feedback on this. So I do agree. I do see one parallel at least where I think you can relate to this, where we have like a complex problem, and if we want to be able to figure it out, we just break it down to the simplest or basic form of it. And I think that I definitely use that a lot more recently with when I need to fix my foundation in breaking. Like I realize, fuck, my footwork looks like shit right now. And if I want to break it down, I guess... It
always did.
It did for a lot. No, you're right. It looked like shit for the longest time. And it wasn't until like, I don't know, maybe roughly at least over 2 years ago, I decided to try to fix it. And the best way to fix it, I guess, was to break it down one step at a time. Because like, if I just look at a 6-step, my own 6-step back then, I'm like, man, it looks like crap. So I decided to just break it down to like individual steps and how to make it look crispy.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's the same with math, is like you have this equation here and you can memorize that. But what's probably more important is if you learned how that equation was derived, the process of which. And so when I compare that to a 6-step, you have the move 6-step, sure. And you learn that. But then if your 6-step looks like shit, what you should be doing is looking at each of those 6 steps and figuring out how to make each of those 6 steps look better. And in a way, now you have 6 moves rather than 1 move, right? And so now instead of doing a 6-step, you're doing just steps, and you can alter the steps as you want. And I think it gives you so much more depth to your dancing. And if you apply that to like literally every step you have, I think, at least for me, I found that footwork, you're no longer thinking about it in terms of 6-step, 7-step, 8-step, twine, whatever, all these stupid steps. I don't think of it like that anymore. I just think of it as like a certain movement. Like I'll move my hip this way and turn my foot that way, or whatever, on my leg, or I'll have my head up higher, have it lower, have my arm reaching out more. So it's, and you're combining those moves together, and then that looks like a 6-step, but I can also alter it. Now it becomes like a a twine step or whatever. And so I don't know, that's the correlation I have with the technical background and the creative background.
No, you're absolutely right about that. Like, it wasn't until recently when I realized the importance of like committing, for example, the hook in your sixth step. Like, I just thought like, oh, it's just a part of the sixth step. But I realized, no, you got to make the hook look really good for that sixth step to be really good.
Yeah.
So.
It's like every piece of the move it has the ability to make a statement. So if you want to make the statement at the part where you're hooking your leg around, you want to make sure that hook looks perfect, or at least the way you want it. So because that's gonna be the exclamation point on your sentence, right? Or like if you're stepping forward, like one of the ways they do it is like, I think it's basically a step out, but you kind of stick your butt up in the air. Mm-hmm. From a sixth step, all you're doing is just accentuating that one step. You're sticking your hips up higher so you can see it. But that's the exclamation in the sentence. So I don't know. I think having a good balance of exclamation points and subtle movement is what really makes it so interesting. The dancing so interesting.
I agree. I just feel like I guess if you want to compare it to like, if you want to reach out to a broader audience and we're trying to draw a nice pretty picture, but we can't draw this pretty picture without having knowing how to draw a nice square, a nice triangle, a nice circle. Or else you have like all these lopsided ass circles or ugly ass squares.
Yeah.
Your house is gonna look like shit.
Yeah, it looks like that. Dope. So like, okay, so in terms of